It's finally happening. The narrative in Cleveland is changing. The same media that doubted Shedeur Sanders for months is saying he's going to play. Even Mary Kay admitted it. This could be the start of something big.
Display. And not only we don't get to watch very much of practice anymore, but in the short little brief period that I do get to watch him throw, he is throwing to the practice squad guys and the backup receivers in the early part of practice. We can see it, and his elite accuracy is always on display. And not only is it just accuracy, it's the fact that he has the kind of arm talent where he can vary the ball speed, he can throw it from different arm angles, he can do a lot of things to make it a catchable ball. And I think that goes a long way. If you talk to receivers, that's what they want. They want to be able to catch the football. And that really wasn't happening this season with Joe Flacco. There were so many drops. So I think that's going to be something that they can really capitalize on when Shedeur gets in there. The fact that he'll take something off of it.
It's finally happening. The narrative in Cleveland has officially flipped. The same Cleveland media that dragged Shedeur Sanders for months, that called him unproven, that labeled him too flashy, that mocked the idea of him ever taking the field, they're now doing a full 180. Even Kay Cabot, the most respected and sometimes most ruthless Browns insider, just said the words no one thought she'd say this early: Shedeur will play. And just like that, the Browns' quarterback room doesn't feel the same anymore. This isn't just another rumor swirling around training camp. This feels like the calm before a real shift in Cleveland football. The energy is changing. The locker room is whispering. The fans can feel it. Even the media is starting to show respect to the kid who was supposed to wait his turn. Let's rewind this story for a second. Because the Browns, man, they've been through a storm. Just last week, they got humbled badly in a 9-23 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The offense looked lost. The line couldn't protect. And Joe Flacco, the veteran presence that was supposed to bring calm, looked anything but steady. The drops, the misfires, the turnovers, it was the same ugly movie playing again. And while all that chaos unfolded under the bright lights, guess who was standing there on the sideline, helmet in hand, watching every moment? Shedeur Sanders. Focused, silent, waiting. Now suddenly, the same reporters who once questioned his maturity are talking about his accuracy, his touch, his ball control. Mary Kay herself described it perfectly. His elite accuracy is always on display. He throws a catchable ball. He knows when to take something off it. Those are words she never used for Flacco. Not once. And here's the wild part. She's not just talking about potential. She's talking about readiness. She said it. When Shedeur gets in there, not if. That's a turning point, folks. That's the moment when skepticism turns into belief. Because if you followed this story from the beginning, you know, this Cleveland media machine doesn't switch up for no reason. 4 months, they called Shedeur everything from inexperienced to social media hype. But now they're preparing fans for the moment they've been trying to delay, his debut. And that's what makes this all feel so calculated, so scripted. Because one of the panel guys even said it on air, they're rewriting the narrative. They're flipping it positive so that when Shedeur finally plays, it looks like they developed him. Let that sink in. After the brutal loss to Pittsburgh, fans started asking real questions. Where's the spark? Where's the future? Dillon Gabriel might have the athleticism, sure. But he's inconsistent, raw, and missing that calm under pressure. Shedeur? He's built for that spotlight. He's been in front of millions since Colorado. He's used to the noise. So now, the Browns are doing what the media does best, controlling the storyline. They're softening the ground, building the hype slowly. So when Shedeur finally steps in, maybe against the Jets, maybe after the bye, it'll feel like a coached-up decision, not a desperate move. But here's what's really going on behind the scenes. This kid's been ready. The same 74% completion rate he had in college wasn't a fluke. It's translating to the practice field. Even with backup receivers, even without the full reps, he's dropping dimes. And now, suddenly, that accuracy, once dismissed as college-only stats, is being praised as NFL-level precision. You tell me that's not a setup.
Mary Kay done switched up again. I had my mic muted. She said Shedeur gonna get in there. What in the world? Mary Kay just said Shedeur gonna get in there. I thought he had a weak arm. She talking about he got the arm talent to make throws catchable. And Shedeur gonna play? Mary Kay, tell us. Since you got the inside and you knew they were about to sign, they were gonna talk about Bailey Zappi or they were gonna get rid of Joe Flacco. Tell us when Shedeur gonna play. Since you know Shedeur gonna play now, when is Shedeur gonna play? Mary Kay be lying but telling the truth at the same time. I don't know what to believe. She do that on purpose. They're like Kanye. They're like Kanye and Orlando Brown. They be up here acting crazy, so when they tell the truth, y'all think he just talking out the side of his neck, but it really true. That's crazy, man. Mary Kay doing the same thing.
Because one of the guys on that panel said it straight. They're setting it up. They're building him up now so when he plays, they can act like they made him ready. And honestly, he's right. That's exactly how this league works. The same voices that tore you down get to act like they always believed in you once you win. It's the oldest trick in the NFL. And you can see it happening in real time. Mary Kay's tone has changed. Her words are softer, measured. Suddenly, she's highlighting Shedeur's catchable ball, something Flacco never gave his receivers. She's calling his arm versatile, talking about how he can change speeds, adjust angles, and throw with feel. These aren't random compliments. These are trial balloons, signals being sent from inside the building. And let's be honest, if you're Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, you're already doing the math. The Browns' next home game after the bye week? Against the Jets. A prime matchup. Ticket prices already climbing. Fans buzzing. You want to sell out? You start Shedeur Sanders at home. Tell me that wouldn't light up Cleveland. And think about it. If Dillon Gabriel keeps scraping by, if the offense stays flat, the pressure's going to explode. Especially after that embarrassing 9-23 loss. The fans are done watching safe. They want electricity. They want the prime effect. The same prime effect that's blowing up on TikTok right now, yeah, that's Shedeur's world. That's his family's brand. That's energy Cleveland hasn't had since Baker Mayfield's rookie year. So let's be real here. The countdown has started. Whether it's week 9 after the bye, or maybe even week 10 against the Titans, Shedeur's debut is coming. You can feel it in every word the media says. You can see it in every hesitation from Kevin Stefanski. You can sense it in the fan base every time Dillon Gabriel takes a hit or misses a read. And yeah, it's wild to see Mary Kay Cabot of all people leading that shift. The same Mary Kay who once questioned his arm strength now calling him NFL ready. But here's the twist, she might be right. Because if there's one thing Shedeur has done better than anyone, from Colorado to Cleveland, it's prove people wrong. Audience, let me ask you this. Do you believe Mary Kay's change of tone is genuine, or is this all a setup for the Browns to make themselves look smart later? And do you think Shedeur's debut should come after the bye, or sooner? Drop your thoughts down below. I'm reading every one of them. Because the truth is, the Browns don't just have a quarterback dilemma. They've got a narrative war happening right in front of us. A battle between the old guard, the cautious voices who want to protect the rookie, and the new energy, the fans and analysts who know he's ready right now. And if you're watching this story unfold, you can already tell, the pressure is building. Every week Dillon Gabriel doesn't shine. The clock ticks louder. But that's just the surface. Because behind closed doors, the Browns are already planning how to roll this out. How to announce it. How to make it look earned. And that's where things get messy. Because when Shedeur Sanders finally steps on that field, it won't just be a debut. It'll be a statement. Now let's be honest. Cleveland's got a pattern. They hype up the veteran, ride the wave for a few weeks, and then act surprised when it crashes. It happened with Deshaun. It happened with Flacco. And now, it's happening again with Dillon Gabriel. You could see it in that Steelers game. 9-23. A total collapse. The kind of loss that forces a franchise to look in the mirror. The defense held as long as it could, but the offense, man, it looked lifeless. Every drive ended in frustration. Receivers couldn't connect. Passes were mistimed. And all the while, Shedeur stood there, headset on, locked in, calm like a storm waiting to break. People keep saying, he's just a rookie, let him learn. But when your team's identity is slipping, sometimes youth is the spark that brings life back. And look, Mary Kay didn't stumble into those words by accident. When she said, Shedeur's going to play, that was a signal. That was a quiet acknowledgement that the plan is already being drawn up. Remember what she said about his throws? That his passes are catchable. That he takes something off when needed. That he's got the kind of arm that receivers like. Those comments weren't filler, that was her planting seeds. Because even the Browns' wideouts have been whispering, they feel the difference when he throws. His touch, his rhythm, that smooth release. And after weeks of dropped passes from Flacco and inconsistent chemistry with Gabriel, that stuff matters. So when fans heard Mary Kay say those words, it wasn't just shocking, it was validation. Validation that all those people who believed in Shedeur weren't crazy. But you know what's even crazier? The shift in how fast this narrative is moving. Just 2 weeks ago, you couldn't mention Shedeur's name on Cleveland radio without somebody rolling their eyes. Now, even the doubters are hedging their bets, saying things like, well, maybe after the bye week. And that's exactly the point. The Browns have the Jets right after the bye. Then the Titans. Then Vegas. And people inside the building are already whispering that Haslam, not Stefanski, not the front office, Haslam himself, wants Shedeur to start at home. But simple. Money. Cleveland's ticket prices tell the story. Home games still hovering around $40 or $50. But when you look at away games, over $100. That's because the hype travels. And once Shedeur takes that first snap, those prices skyrocket. This is business. It's narrative control. And it's exactly what one of those panel guys said earlier. They're going to rewrite this story so it looks like they made Shedeur ready, not that he was ready all along. And that's the wildest part. Because you can see it coming, play by play. Gabriel gets 2 more starts. Maybe 3. He'll get praise for managing the game. Then the Browns will drop another close one. And after that, the rumors begin. The reports start leaking. Shedeur getting more first-team reps. Coach is impressed with his progress. And then, after the bye, the announcement. That's how it goes. We've seen this script 1,000 times. But what makes it different now is that Shedeur Sanders isn't just another rookie, he's a brand. A movement. He's Prime's kid, sure, but he's also his own man. Calm, confident, and absolutely surgical when he's locked in. And it's funny how the same people who questioned his composure at Colorado are now praising it in Cleveland. They're rewriting history in real time. That's the NFL way. Take the same kid you once dismissed and make him your development success story. But fans aren't stupid. They see through it. They've watched this organization fumble narratives before. And honestly, this time, the people might be ahead of the team. Because Browns Nation is split. Half the fan base wants to protect the rookie. The other half? They're ready for the Prime effect to hit First Energy Stadium right now. And can you blame them? After that Steelers beatdown, what's left to lose? The defense is elite. The run game's solid. But without a quarterback who can make receivers believe in every throw, this team's ceiling is capped. And that's what Shedeur brings, belief. He's got that quiet swagger. That energy that tells the locker room, we can win. And when you combine that with his accuracy, man, that's dangerous. But here's where the story gets even deeper. One of the analysts in that original clip said something real. They're gonna start putting out these positive narratives so when they finally put him in, it looks like they saved him. That's exactly what's happening right now. The same reporters who once rolled their eyes are suddenly running features about his leadership in practice. Coaches are dropping quotes about his growth. And even players, the ones who used to dodge Shedeur questions, are starting to mention his name more freely. That's not random. That's staging. The Browns are lining up their dominoes, setting the narrative. Because when Shedeur finally steps on that field, they want it to feel like destiny, not desperation. Browns fans, what do you think? Is Cleveland playing this smart, or are they over-orchestrating a moment that should have already happened? Would you rather see him thrown into the fire now, or built up through the bye week so he explodes when it counts? Drop your thoughts down below, because if you've been following this saga, you know this isn't just football anymore. It's storytelling. Now let's talk timing. The most popular theory right now? Week 10, Browns versus Jets. At home, under the lights. The return of the prime effect. And it makes too much sense. By then, Gabriel will have had his shot. The bye week gives Shedeur time to take more first-team snaps. And you better believe the cameras will be ready. Because once that moment comes, it won't just be about football, it'll be about redemption. A young quarterback written off by analysts proving, once again, that hype doesn't define you, work does. Even the skeptics, the ones calling him a social media star, will have to admit it. Shedeur's accuracy, poise, and decision-making are real. And when that first touchdown comes, the same outlets that doubted him will run headlines saying, "Brown's patience pays off." That's how fast the story flips. But here's what I want y'all to remember. This flip didn't start with Kay Cabot. It started with Shedeur himself. With the way he carried himself through the noise. With the way he kept showing up, kept throwing darts in practice, kept letting his play speak. He didn't chase headlines, he made them come to him. And now, the entire city is starting to believe. The Browns aren't just grooming a quarterback, they're building a legend in slow motion. Because every era has a moment when the new face steps in, and for Cleveland, that moment is coming faster than anyone expected. When that camera pans to Shedeur walking onto that field, helmet under his arm, fans roaring, the city of Cleveland won't just be watching a rookie. They'll be watching a turning point. From hate to hope. From doubt to destiny. And whether it's week 9, week 10, or week 12, one thing is guaranteed, Shedeur Sanders will play. And when he does, Cleveland will finally understand what Dion meant when he said, "You can't deny greatness when it's consistent." Because this, right here, is the beginning of something different. So Browns Nation, let's hear it one more time. When do you think Shedeur should take that first snap? After the bye week, against the Jets, or wait until December? And if he shines, does that mean Cleveland finally has its franchise quarterback? Tell us below, because the prime effect is coming. And when it hits, this city won't ever be the same again. If you felt that energy, if you believe Shedeur deserves his shot, make sure to hit that like button, drop your prediction in the comments, and subscribe to Gridiron Insights, where we break down the drama, the headlines, and the truth behind every play that shakes the NFL. Because this story? It's far from over. The Browns' narrative has flipped, and Shedeur Sanders is about to flip the whole league next. Stay locked in. This is Gridiron Insights, and we'll see you in the next one.